Welcome! In this video we're going to show you exactly how to build Morguk's Crushers, the Warhammer Underworlds warband. Now before we start building our Uruk miniatures, it's important to get fully prepared. We've already got our pair of Citadel fine detail cutters here ready to go. This is what we're going to be using to remove the parts from the sprue. If you're a younger hobbyist or you're a bit unsure on how to use those clippers, why not ask someone more experienced to help you out. Also, have a really good read of the instructions that came with the miniatures. This is going to help us familiarise ourselves with the models before we start building and really help you out as we go along. You'll notice in the instructions that all the parts are numbered, and that corresponds to numbers on the sprues to make our parts really easy to find. Right, let's get building. Now in this video we're going to show you how to build the mighty Morgok himself, but the principles and techniques we're going to use here will apply across the other models in the warband too. Now the instructions tell us the first thing we need to do to build Morgok is to find parts 1 and 2. Let's find those on the sprue now. Part 1 is in the middle of the sprue there. You can see it's Morgok's top knot, back and massive chopper. Let's get our side cutters here. Here we're going to be placing the flat edge of the side cutters against the miniature we want to keep, like so. Very carefully snip like this. Then we'll work around the miniature as we go, with the flat edge of the side cutters up against the parts of the model we want to keep. Like this, working around very carefully, as close as you possibly can to the model, to ensure that none of the sprue is left on the figure itself. Then, as we get to the last piece here, you'll notice there's a peg on the leg. Whatever you do, don't cut that off, that's really important. Also, hold the miniature with your other hand as the last cut comes in like so we can hold the miniature and make sure it doesn't fly away. There we go, that's our first piece cut out. Okay, let's find part number 2. That's on the other sprue located up by the bases. Just here, it's a small connector, this one. Now you'll notice there's 2 small dots on this. That's important for later, keep a note of that. But for now, we're going to just cut this part away from the sprue like this. Turn it around like so. Bingo, just hold on to that model to make sure it doesn't fly away. Perfect. Now, what we're actually going to do here is attach this to our pair of clippers. We've got to just hold them with our clippers so it's nice and obvious what we're doing. The reason why is it's a little bit fiddly, so it's easier to do. Now you see those 2 dots there. It's important those 2 dots are face up and towards the inside of the miniature as we place it in here. It's the only way it's going to work. So fit those in snugly here, just find the connector, push it in like so. Perfect. Okay, let's find the next part now. That's part number 3. That's Morguk's left leg and body. On the sprue you can find it just here next to the part we already cut out before. Grab your side cutters here and make your way round the part, again using the flat edge here against the part we want to keep. Make sure we're not cutting off any of these pegs as they're integral to building the miniature. Just very carefully cutting around like so, being nice and careful. As we get to the last cut again, hold on to the model like this. That last cut goes in, we can move the sprue away like so. Now take this part here and the part we've already cut out before, our assembly, and feeding that connector through that hole, it's going to line the 2 parts up like this until we get a nice click, like so. Okay, up next, of course, it's part number 4. This is Morguk's head and body and can be found on the sprue here on this top corner. Again, let's grab our side cutters, very carefully work our way round the model like so, making sure the flat part is against the part we want to keep. There we go, just like this. Turn the sprue round. Real careful around the head, don't cut his ears off. Making sure just holding onto that model as we go around so it doesn't fly away. Then we'll take this part from the sprue like so, and we'll get the part we've already built. And you see this connector coming, we put that through earlier on. That's going to connect to the hole on the back here. So we're going to line the head up and the connector up, push the 2 parts together to hear a nice click, and there we go. Okay, 1 boss chopper is good, but 2 is even better. Let's find part number 5, and that's on the same sprue as the bases. It's right here in the centre, this big old chopper right there. Again, grab your side cutters. We're carefully going to cut this out of the sprue, very carefully with a flat edge against the part we want to keep. So working around like this, careful on that detail here. Oh, there's 2 round here, so we're going to cut those both out nice and carefully. Again, hold on to it as the last cut goes in like so. Hold on to that miniature. Then on Morguk, we're going to take the part we've already built and the boss chopper and then carefully put it into his arm like so. And the last piece for Morgok is of course the base on which he stands. You can find this right here, it's the middle base, number 6. So we're going to take our side cutters again, just cut it out from the sprue here again, being real careful, just to make sure we're not ruining the edge of that base. Nice and flat up against it like this, perfect. Then take the base from the sprue. Take Morguk and push him very carefully into the feet on the base until you hear a nice click. And there we go, Mogok is ready to stomp his way into battle. And there we go, that's how to build Mighty Orc boss Morgok for your games of Warhammer Underworlds. As you can see here, we've applied the same tips and techniques to build the rest of the warband. Remember, when using your fine detail cutters, always use the flat edge against the part of the miniature you want to keep. That way the cut will be nice and clean. Hope you've enjoyed that video. Happy building!